All right, what is up, everybody out there? Thanks for tuning in tonight. We've got, I would like to call it a doozy of a show, a little bit of winging it, but we're going to have a great time anyway. How's it going tonight? Sally, how you doing?
It's a great night here in this cold state that we call Utah. It's been like, I guess, 38 degrees during the day, which is pretty cold, yet pretty warm for this time of year. It's been a wild week. I think I haven't talked to you since before. I think the last time I spoke to you was on election night. So there's a lot gone on in the
Yeah,
last.
it's been a while. It has been a while. Boy, things have been crazy since then. A lot of meltdowns and funny things to laugh at, but um I'm sure we'll touch on that a little bit tonight as well, and maybe even talk about World War III, which might be right around the corner. I'm not sure.
Oh my gosh.
What do you think about all that?
I think it's nuts. Like the World War III, everything that they're doing. I mean, why would Biden give permission for the UN to launch missiles? And that's assuming that Joe Biden is actually running the show, that he's even coherent. I mean, when was the last time he coherently ran two sentences together? It's terrifying that no one's running this country.
I don't know. It seemed like maybe he was in Jumanji the other day. I think I saw him in like the jungle, kind of wandering off into some little foreign land. That was awesome. Um, I like it. I don't think he's been running the country for quite some time, if he ever
For 4
was.
years, for 4 years. I think the reason he ran from the basement, just like Donald Trump said, was he wasn't mentally all there, and he tried to tell us. No one believed it. "Oh, he's just keeping us safe from the whatever thing that's going around in 2020." Like, no, I don't think so. I think it was all part of their ploy to get an idiot elected along with another idiot.
Yeah, I like that. Did you see that meme where it was like Obama saying, I have to find somebody dumber than me, and he found he found Biden, and then Biden's like, well, I gotta find somebody dumber than me. So there's Kamala, and then she's like, there's Tim Walz down the line. I love that one. And
Oh my gosh, it was so funny.
I kind of wish Chris Farley hadn't died. Well, I wish Chris Farley hadn't died for lots of reasons, but he would have played a perfect Tim Waltz
Oh,
in like the movie of all this. That would have been great.
who would have like, what was like, I wanna know the reasoning behind picking Tim Walz. It was probably just like, were they trying to tank it from the very beginning? Like, what was the point? What was like, no, like all of his rules, all of his policies were horrible. Everyone in Minnesota hates him. Why would you do that?
I have no idea. I'm glad they did. I mean, at least it worked out. It worked out kind of the way I liked it to work out. So I'm really glad that that did happen that way. But I mean, I feel like we dodged a big bullet with that. Trump won very, profoundly. He put it stapled down. There's no arguing over who won or any of that this time. So I'm glad that that's the way that went.
But
Um,
do you think though, like if you think about it, do you because you know how Joe Biden was getting pushed out and he endorsed Kamala Harris before anyone could say anything about it. Like I think that was a big FU
well, yeah.
to the DNC. Like if you're gonna push me out, well, guess what? I'm gonna back Kamala Harris, and this is who you're gonna get. Like that was like revenge.
Yeah, I guess so. And I do feel like there's nobody more pissed off right now than Jill. Dr. Jill. Make sure you call her Dr. Jill.
Doctor.
Nobody more mad than Jill Biden. You can just see it in her eyes every time she sees like the Kamala thing going on. She's just up there glaring, and I I find it to be kind of humorous. So, I do like that. Um, let me real quick just say hey to a few of these people. This is streaming out on a couple platforms on X over there. Is this going out on your Rumble as well, or
This is
no?
on Rumble and X Live.
All right, so yeah, we've got this going out on YouTube, Rumble, a couple places on X, and all that. So everybody out there listening, we really do appreciate you being here. We got a Fear and Backroads was a person. I'm just going to read off a couple of these people in chat. Kentucky Blue Balls. We got George in here. Hopefully, we can get a call in from George tonight. That would be awesome. Matt Dummick, Kentucky Blue Balls. Love that name. We got Christian Lockett. We got Julian. What's up, Julian? Good to see you. Patriot from Warsaw. We got names scrolling in right and left. We got Sally's in the chat as well. But yeah, everybody out there, thanks for tuning in. We're going to have some fun tonight. We're going to open this up for a call-in segment here in a few and see if anybody wants to call in and talk about some kind of craziness or something like that, whatever's kind of on your mind. We got American Patriot. I like the way it shows if they're like from Twitter or like, here we go. This was from YouTube coming in. Travel freely. Good to see you. American Patriot coming in from X. I like it. We're starting to figure this out, Sally.
Yes, we are starting to figure. The only ones that don't go through are my Rumble. So if I post my Rumble to your chat, that's because I want you to post it in your on your screen. So
Right, right.
anyone's
I
listening
got
over
you.
there.
I got you. So tell me this real quick. So I've never been to Utah. Now you're over there in Utah. You say I guess it gets really cold. I heard there's a lot of good like snow skiing and stuff up there. Is that one of the things you like to
Oh,
do?
we have the best powder. Like I've been skiing in quite a few places, and the powder here is it's powder. It's fluffy. It's like you go skiing and it's like it's soft. The only time that it gets icy or sticky is when the temperatures are warm. So it kind of melts and then it can turn icy.
I got you. Now
Yeah.
I'm from South Miami, so I might argue over whose powder is better. Um,
Once you go powder, you never go back.
so we could have that conversation on a different platform. I don't know. YouTube might not like that one, but I know the powder used to be nice down there. A little old for that these days, but yeah. So we've got a lot of different topics we want to get to. We got a lot of shows planned. We've had Sally had stuff going on last week. I had stuff the week before. LW is out sick tonight, so he's not here with us, which we miss him as well. But as always, the show must go on. So we're gonna wing this. Let's talk for 2 seconds about some of the topics that we want to talk about coming up. Um, I've been doing a deep dive into like the Ark of the Covenant, which I'm working on a cool thing, which I think would be a good presentation we can make happen. Um, Another one I want to do is sleep paralysis. I think that would be really fun.
Oh
I think a
yeah.
lot of people, because you ever had that?
Oh yeah. I've had it probably like 3 or 4 times in my life where you're like it's almost like you're not quite asleep, you're not quite awake. It's almost like you're in between realms and you can't move, but you want to move, but you're not awake, but you're not asleep. If someone could wake you up, then you could escape it. But when you wake up, your whole body is numb and tingly. It's
But
really
did you
weird.
ever like hallucinate and see anything or anything like that?
Well, I was in dream state. I was like dreaming. Like
Yeah,
I had a dream that someone was dragging me by my hair down the hallway and banging me against the walls. That was a demon that was trying to drag me down to hell. It was freaky.
yeah. But did you see it though? And you felt like you were awake and that was
I
really
felt like it was
happening.
real life. I
Yeah,
felt like it
yeah,
was real life. Like I've had
right.
real like I because you're like you're not asleep, you're not awake is the only way they can explain it. So you're in between realms. You're in between that cognitive. I don't know how to explain it, but realms is the best way I can explain it. So everything that you're experiencing feels like real life. Like I really felt like I was getting banged against the wall and dragged by my hair.
And what did you see?
I saw a demon. It was like a shadow of a demon. They dragged me out of bed and they were dragging me down the hallway and dragging me by my hair. And then I woke up. I was asleep and I was like in my sleep I was trying to scream because I'd had a double compound fib at the time. So I was sleeping in a separate bedroom than my ex because double compound fib kind of painful. And so I was like trying to yell his name. I was like, "Meow." Like I was like in my sleep trying to yell his name so that he would wake me up from this horrific nightmare that I was having. It was crazy. It was terrifying. I was like
Yeah, and
22. No,
yeah,
21.
the crazy thing about that and it wasn't until too long ago that people started putting it together. But whether it's a subconscious thing or whether it's what your mind does and different people, and a lot of times people can read something and then relate that to what they automatically that's what I do. But when these people came out with that and started doing it, everybody sees there's like two different things or like three different things that people see, and they all see basically the same thing. There's like the old hag, and then there's the hat men. There's which is really interesting. And it's like that's what Nightmare on Elm Street's based off of is sleep paralysis and the Hat Man. That's basically what that whole story and was written about was sleep paralysis. And the old hag, a lot of people see that they wake up and they can't breathe and they're just sitting there and there's like this woman just with this horrible face, just like staring and holding them down, like suffocating them, and they can't figure out
Yeah.
what to do. And all kinds of people see the same thing. And it's really interesting that people would see the same thing.
So I think mine, I did not figure this out until this year. So that must have been reliving a traumatic experience in my life. And I was taking some hydrocodone and some Percocets because guys remember double compound tip fib, right? And and I was actually coming off of them. So because I only took them for 5 days. And there was a time in my life when I was probably 4 or 5 years of age. And I remember that my mother and my dad were fighting, and my dad was dragging my mom down the hallway by her hair and kicking her. And she was yelling, my dad's name, which I won't say on air, but she was saying, "Hey, please stop." But she was crying and screaming. But it was almost like not till this year did I realize that is so. This experience was 25 years ago. I still remember it vividly. But this year I realized, put that connection there, that was me reliving like my worst, like as a 4-year-old. That was horrible.
Yeah, that's absolutely terrifying. And that's like those I see somebody else talking about having reoccurring dreams in the chat too. I had one, and I've had the dream 3 times, and it's been the exact same dream every time. And I've always done the exact same thing in the dream. And I've done a lot of work in people's houses, going in and, installing things in people's houses, blah, blah, blah. And it's always the same kitchen that I go into, and there's a basement door that I go through. And I start walking down, and I never realize it in my dream until I get about halfway down that. And then I remember, it's weird because in my dream, I remember having the dream, and I'm scared to proceed to go down because I know what's going to happen. And when I get to the bottom of the steps, there's always the same poster. It's a poster of Muhammad Ali that I see when I get to the bottom because it's in somebody's basement. And I always get there into the basement and I see that. And then it goes, and I wake up and I'm like, holy shit, I just had that same dream again. But I remember in my dream that it's a dream, if that makes sense. Like, I'm like,
So in
holy
your
shit.
dream, you realize this is your groundhog dream. That you're
Exactly.
repeating the same dream over and over.
Exactly. And I wake up every time terrified. And I know, well, I don't know what's going to happen, but if I ever go into somebody's house and I'm in that kitchen and I see that basement door, I ain't going down there. There ain't no way in hell I'm leaving and being like, no, sorry, people, here's your refund. I'm not proceeding with this. So
That is crazy.
So yeah, the sleep paralysis thing is fascinating to me. So I'd like to do a whole show on that. And one of the things I'd like to try to figure out is getting some guests on here that are more expert on the topics than you know what I mean. So we need to
Yeah, but
start.
when we find out these topics, I can start messaging people. Like I said, I want to plan our topics a week out because I want to build to advertise, to recruit and get people out here.
Right.
So yeah, that's definitely what I do. Real quick. Lasher Gaming just donated $5. Rumble Rant. Love for my girl because I missed a few days shows. Yes, she's missed some shows this week. Y'all help out Sally's Real Talk. Thank you, Lasher Gaming. I love him. And I am gonna start live streaming my X Spaces more to Rumble and to X Live. There's a different audience. Some people like to listen to X Spaces, some like to do Rumble, some like the live feature on X Live TV. So thank you, Flash Sure Gaming.
Yeah, it's neat to do this like this and put it out to different platforms because like each different platform might not show, but we've got 212 beautiful people watching right now. And we appreciate each and every one of you. It's going to be a fun show tonight. I think we're going to have fun. Hopefully we'll get a couple cool people to call in. I was talking to you about the ARC thing. So that's something that I'd like you and maybe even the people listening to maybe look into, so when we can come back and revisit that show, it can be a little bit bigger because that's a fascinating story. You said you didn't know a whole lot about the Ark of the
No.
Covenant,
Yeah.
which I find fascinating.
So Julian's in our audience. Julian, if you're in our audience right now, whether in one of the chats, let us know. I assume that you would know a lot about this and you would be a great guest to have on. But message me or in the chat and let us know because I think he would be good. His brain.
And Julian's welcome to pop on if he wants to as well right now. And we're gonna drop the link to call in here in just a few minutes anyway. So, but yeah, like what do you know about the Ark of the Covenant?
I think I said like nothing about it. That's why I want to learn about it. Because I love all this fascinating historical, like, I love this stuff, but I always like to hear, like, I'm an auditory learner. I learn best by listening to people describe things, and then I can ask clarifying questions to say, "So, this is what this means, right?" And then they explain it, and then I can comprehend it.
Right. So you know the basic concept though that like biblically, in Exodus, I guess Exodus, yeah, it would be Exodus when Moses goes and they go up this Mount Sinai. He's given the 10 Commandments and blah blah blah. They're told to build an ark, specific measurements in the
Yeah.
Bible to store that in. What was it? It's like 2.5 cubits by 1.5 cubit by 1.5 cubit, something like that. And so basically they put that in there. Then they go, like when they're escaping through the desert and all that, the ark, is known for doing all those remarkable things that cause those, saving them, leading them, parting, waters, doing all this stuff is basically from that. And, it was specifically said, it has to be built exactly like this out of, what is it? Some kind of weird, I'd have to look it up, but some kind of weird wood and then coated on the inside with gold, outside with gold, and with the cherubs on the top of it, like this. Some people believe that they're conductors. Some people believe other things. The thing is that the stuff that has come about from them, and you've had all these leaders from history, all these people always trying to get this thing. So what is it is the number one thing, whether you believe it biblically or historically, whichever way you want to look at it, there's fascinating things behind the Ark of the Covenant. And, a lot of them have to do, people were known for, you can't touch it. It had to be carried with wood. And there's like, even in the Bible, the one priest touches it. He's basically shocked, dies on the ground. They had it where only the priests were allowed to carry it. They had to wear lead garments over them, just like you would be if you were going to get an x-ray or anything like that. They would literally, the people would go up to tend to it, carry it. They would have ropes tied around their feet just because nobody could get close enough to it without wearing those lead garments. And if the people died, they would just drag them away with the ropes by their feet because nobody else would get close enough to it.
Interesting.
Which is, and I mean, this, whether you look at this biblically, people listening, or historically, or however or maybe you don't believe any of it, but it's still interesting one way or another. I mean, Jesus Christ, they made an Indiana Jones movie about it. So one of the best movies.
Lasher Gaming might know about it. He already knows that Moses' brother, Aaron, was told to secure it. So maybe Lasher Gaming, I know that you are always welcome to call in as well.
Yeah, exactly. And this is a good point from Patriot from Warsaw. If you want to talk about dreams, the prophet Joseph was a prophet of dreams, warning that God was telling him to share to others about, and what they translate mean. I get what you're going with that. Yeah, that's definitely cool. And you can call in here in a minute if you want to as well.
Was telling him to share to others about what they translate and mean. Is he talking about share your women?
Well, I mean that too. But no, I'm just joking. But yeah, with the ark. Anyway, I think that's the thing. I don't want to go too much into it right now, but there's, where did it end up? There, it started out, did the Knights Templar take it away? The Babylonians, they took everything away, but they kept records, when they sacked the Philistines. This is one of the most interesting things to go with the nuclear thing. The Philistines took the ark and they took it and used it as like a token of winning. After they won the battle, they take it and they took it to their cities and displayed it like everybody come and see, look at this. We have taken this away. Well, they ended up giving it back because all the people in the cities that were going to see it all began getting covered in boils and all died of what was cancer. Basically, they all died of like instantly getting cancer, just like
was
you would.
Was it cancer or was it radiation poisoning?
Well, yeah, it's the same, but like cancer that would be basically if you got radiation poisoning and, they all started getting boils and started getting the things and swelling up and getting knots all over them. And they all started dropping dead, that they actually took it and gave it back to the Israelites with gifts of apology just to get the curse off of them because they didn't understand what was going on. And it's so super interesting story. I think that would be a great show to have, especially if we could get, So, yeah, I don't want to go too much more into it because there's so much more to it. I don't want to give away the show. So
Well, we know how people go and pirate show ideas. It's
I know
their
it.
favorite thing. It's like, wait, I talked about that 2 weeks. I talked about that yesterday. Said I was going to do it in 3 days, and oh, let's hurry up and do it before you get a chance to do it. It's really weird how people work.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it's coming on. I mean, other people have done stuff about it as well. Graham
Yeah,
Hancock's one of my favorite that's really done a lot
I
on that.
still want to cover that series. I think that would be fun.
Oh, if you haven't seen the latest arguments going on oh shit, what's his name? The hell's his name? Now I'm on a brain dead. The Joe Rogan. Joe
Oh
Rogan.
yeah.
He's
Oh, I was gonna. He just did a. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, he just did the show with he did the show with Graham Hancock and then that weird little archaeologist guy,
The one
Flint
with the
Dribble.
the one that about Atlantis. The
Yeah,
one
yeah,
that
he
played.
had Jimmy
Yeah,
Corsetti on the other day. He's had him on a
yeah,
bunch, which
yeah.
I'd still want to try to get him on here one night. But Graham Hancock debated Flint Dribble, something like that. And he's a pompous little guy that came on there wearing some suit that looked too big for him and talked and, basically bended the truth on a whole lot of things. So that's been a big thing to do right there. And that's why I think Jimmy Corsetti and somebody else, Dunking, went on there to debunk Flint Dribble yesterday, I think. I haven't watched the episode yet, but I'm excited to see it. So that should be good. What's up, Jigsaw Squid? We got Tales Told in the Dark in here as well. Sally says hi. That must be from one of your people there.
Fishes
Machinius in
back.
here.
Yeah, the fishes them back.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, Machinius. He obviously watched it. He said that was a good episode of Rogan. I
I'm
like
gonna
Joe.
watch it.
Do you like Joe Rogan?
Yeah, I watched Joe Rogan before. I think he was starting to get big. It was clear back when he had Dr. Robert Malone on. I was watching him a little bit before. I think I might have found him when I was trying to find stuff that he was talking about clear back during about end of 2020, 21, end of 2021 maybe. But so I'd followed him. I used to walk 5 miles every day and listen to Joe Rogan
Oh
for
wow.
like 2 or 3 hours a day. Yeah, so I'd go walk 5 to 7 miles and listen to Joe Rogan.
Oh wow. Yeah, he's interesting. I don't agree with everything he says, and obviously I don't think anybody should agree with everything anybody says, but it I still like a lot of his episodes. And he's come around a lot, I think. So yeah,
Yeah,
if
he
you
has.
want, I'm going to go on ahead and drop the link. So go on ahead and drop that into some of the people over on your side over there. And if
Yeah, I
anybody wants
think
to
I
call in and
did,
tell
but
us,
let's do it again. If anyone wants to call in, I'm gonna post the link in the Rebel chat and the X Live chat. You do not have to sign up for anything. It is a link. When you get in there, it'll ask you to enter studio. You can before you get there, you can put the name that you want to go under. You can come in as an avatar or you can come in with picture image. So don't freak out, but don't forget to click enter studio or else you'll just be in the ether thinking you're in the studio when you're not. That
exactly.
that happened to me for an hour once because I didn't know. I'd never been on there before.
Well, you just sat in the back room.
That wasn't even the back room. I just had it pulled up because if you don't push enter studio, no one knows you're there. And I'm just like, they're like, hey, when are you coming? I'm like, I've been sitting here for over a half hour. They're like, well, we don't see you. And I said, so I turn off everything. Thought I was having computer issues. Then I blew it up on the big screen and there's this little button that says enter studio. I'm like, oh, you got to enter the studio.
Wanda E, I see that. I'll check my email. I'll have to go through and look and see which one it is, but I will check that. I'll go in there and look for it. So super cool. Yeah. So anybody wants to call in, just click that link. Come on, tell us what you think about it. That's kind of the point of this show. Its link is right there, and we would love to hear from you. So Sally, what do you think about? Let's go back to World War III. So what's going on there? You've been on Twitter probably more than I have. You've probably seen a lot more.
Who me?
Yeah.
I've been on Twitter more than you. I'm so surprised that you would make that assumption about me. Yes, I have, like from the very beginning. World War III. So we have NATO has always been that red line in the sand with Ukraine, right? It's always been there since 1991 when they ended the Cold War. And Putin said, as long as you don't go past this, then all these agreements are in place. Well, Biden comes in and they're trying to bring NATO into Ukraine, which is their, they don't want them there. Everything that Biden has done, along with Nord Stream 2, along with NATO, sanctions, they're just poking the bear. They've been wanting World War III with Russia. They've been trying to poke them for three years now. I don't even know how many years. It seems like 10, but it's probably
Yeah, it
3.
does.
But so since 2021. And anyway, long story short, they've been poking this bear for a long time. And I actually had a lady, her name is Roden. She came on to one of my X spaces and she was explaining the history of Ukraine and Russia. And I was like, that's how I understand it. How come the American people don't understand it like that? I don't think Putin wants World War III. I don't think he wants more land because you have the Donbass and you have the Donetsk region that was owned by Russia. And during what accords was it? During the Minsk Accords, they gave that province to Ukraine because without that, Ukraine did not have enough on its own to be prosperous. And it was full of like the richest kind of coal that there is. So in that agreement, half the coal would go to Russia, the profits from the coal, and half the profits would go to Ukraine. Right. And then in 2014, we have a coup that was facilitated by Obama. And so he goes and facilitates this coup, puts new leadership in Ukraine. And then you have the Ukrainian people or the people running Ukraine, the government, this Donetsk and Donbass region, they spoke Russian. They were Orthodox Catholic. They were very much Russian, yet they were part of Ukraine. And they were allowed to live like this and everything was fine until they got new leadership. And so then they started telling them that you can't practice that religion. You now have to speak Ukrainian, which they've never spoke their entire life. They didn't teach their children to speak Ukrainian. So then that was causing that whole disconnect. And those people in that region begged Putin to intervene and to help them out because they're being persecuted for just being who they were, right? So that's when Russia originally was going into there to help those people that they begged for. And the Western world was making it that Russia invaded Ukraine because they wanted more land. These people begged for it. And this is a lady from Ukraine that migrated from there to the United States that told me this is how I was taught it. And she explained it the same way that I understood it, which I was like, someone gets it. So that's
Yeah,
the
and
history.
there was also that Ukraine was a nuclear power, and when they
Yeah.
were pulling back on all the nuclear thing, one of the things that was agreed upon was that Ukraine would denuclearize, and then they would never that NATO and that everybody would have their back. But the one thing was that they were never allowed to join NATO or go into talks about joining NATO. So there's a lot of deals that were broken that
Yep.
isn't because I mean, if you were Russia, and I'm not siding with Russia, I actually
Yeah.
don't really give a damn about either one of these countries. I'll
Yeah.
just be honest. That if you were Russia, the thing is it's a buffer from NATO countries to Russia. If Ukraine joined NATO, then NATO could put bases up right on the border of Russia. So it's kind of one of those things that's really none of America's business, in my opinion. What say you, Patriot from Warsaw? How you doing?
It's a sound test. Can you hear me?
Yep, hear you loud and clear, brother. How you doing?
Yeah, doing good. Still talking about the Ukraine conflict, especially after what Russia did right now today, huh?
What do you think about it? Give us your thoughts.
I've been studying the whole conflict for over 10 years. I've been seeing it since it had been kicking off back in 2013. But this whole war that's been going on with Ukraine and Russia has actually been going on since the Tsars, believe it or not. Because Tsar Nicholas, before the Soviets and Bolsheviks took over, this conflict's been literally going on even at the dawn of time when Europe was literally being created. So, I mean, you had the Bolsheviks took over Ukraine, you had the Tsars, but Ukraine, I mean, it's a big country, all right?
Oh yeah.
It's in between, the rest of Europe, and then you got the Russian Federation. Ukraine has been down there for, let's see, over 2 world wars and numerous other conflicts. But it's not just the Russians. The Poles even had conflicts with them and neighboring other countries as well. But from what my understanding is, this whole war has been nothing but an old feud, kind of like Bonnie and Clyde. It would not Bonnie and Clyde. Who's the cowboys that hate each other? Hatfields and McCoys.
Yeah,
Kind of like Hatfields and McCoys. It's literally, that's all it is. It's literally Hatfields and McCoys just trying to fight each other off.
So, I mean, who, if you had to say, is there anybody right or wrong?
At this point, both are doing bad and both are doing good at the same time. But
Right.
but
Yeah, it's one of those. Yeah.
But from my understanding, Russia is not your friend or ally, because I've looked into Russia's doings. They've done a lot of bad, especially for what they've done in their neighboring countries. I mean, hell, back in 2008, they invaded Georgia. They also had started off 2 wars with Chechnya. And then, of course, they invaded Afghanistan. So, I mean...
Right. Yeah. I mean, I agree with that. Like I said before, I don't think either one of them, I don't like either of these countries.
I mean, but like I said, both sides have done wrong. I mean, even the Bucha incident. I mean, I don't know if you looked into that, have you? Bucha?
Yeah. Enlighten us more on it.
When Putin literally said we're going to go invade Ukraine back in 2022, they literally were sending in troops with the symbol Z, which means in Russia, it means pretty much we win. It's the symbol of, like, literally, justice and, liberty, we win. Or actually, what does it mean? Pretty much it just means they win. But they literally went into this village known as Bucha, and the Russian military and airborne divisions were literally capturing and rounding up civilians and just slaughtering them to pieces.
Oh, wow.
They didn't really care. They would even rape them. They would literally go after kids as young as 15 years old and literally just violated her. I mean, war crimes right there. It's just like, these people you cannot reason with.
Yeah, and I think kind of both sides are like that, really. I mean, you see a lot of stuff that comes out of Ukraine as well, with a lot of the, a lot of, like, okay, before all this happened, do you remember, was it, what was the show where they did the whole thing about Nazism in Ukraine? What was it?
That's true, though. That's very, you laugh. That is very true. It's
I know about that, and I know about that. You know where that actually comes from?
What's that?
Germany.
No, it actually doesn't. It's during the Second World War. There was a guy by the name of Stefan Bandera. He was literally a Ukrainian nationalist for the German, party, of course, because the Ukrainians on the east side were literally, not the east side, the west side. They had to make an ultimatum. Look, they wanted an independent Ukraine, even though I didn't agree with it, agreeing with socialism and fascism, of course. They all just said, well, should we let the Soviets take over Ukraine, or should we join the Germans? And they saw the Germans as liberators, so they decided, hey, let's just found the UPA, which is the Ukrainian Insurgent Army. And they did a lot of atrocities against the Poles, Jews, and Russians. And during the war, they literally divided up in 3 groups. There was ones that supported the Germans. There were ones that actually fought against the Soviets. And then there's the ones that are independents. And the independents, believe it or not, fled all the way down to Italy, then actually get captured by the United States Army.
Yeah, because there was, like, what was it? It was like 3 or 4 years before this. It was one of those, was it 60? It might have been 60 Minutes. Did that whole documentary on how about the Nazi problem in Ukraine. And then, 3 years later, it's like, oh, Ukrainians are the best people in the world. It was like,
Well,
like which way do they want to do it?
I mean, it has a dark history as well as any neighboring European country. I mean, hell, Poland even had acknowledged, they did atrocities with the Holocaust of the Germans and other nations next to them. The Czechs were guilty, the Romanians. So, I mean, to be fair, the Germans, when they occupied other neighboring countries, they all fell for it.
Right. Yeah.
They fell for what? They fell for what?
They fell for, like, hey, we just suffer, we give in and we'll appease the Germans and they'll take less of a beating. No, the Germans literally would just have to literally beat the living fuck out of you, or you became the problem. We'll just send you into the Holocaust.
Right. But what I was getting at, though, was this was problems that they were having in 2016, 17, 18, not
started in
problems
2014.
Right. Yeah. Not problems that were happening during World War II. This was problems that were like present day problems.
It's mixed both. It's
Yeah.
mixed both. I'm saying, but when people are called a Banderite, they're talking about people that are influenced from the past of the Second World War, but are still in present today. And there's small factions of fascism that are still out there in Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
I was told by a lady, the same lady I was just talking about a minute ago. She told me that the people from Germany, the Nazis from Germany, went into Ukraine. Like, you can't even make a video or talk about it in Ukraine. But her whole family was killed by this group of people, and that's where they ended up, the Azov Battalion.
Azov is not a fascist group. It's the other one you're thinking of, which I'm well aware of. They've even debunked it that Azov was actually not a fascist group.
Yes, I wouldn't.
Who debunked it?
There's literally some news outlet that literally debunked that because somebody.
I want to know which news outlet, because that does matter, because if it's from a regular news outlet, I don't believe Fox, MSNBC, CNN, ABC, none of those I believe. So if it came from them, I don't believe it one bit. Like, I'm talking from people that actually lived there.
I only believe the BBC.
Let's see here. You're talking about the Azov Brigade, because that's actually been debunked in some of that or not. Let me see here.
Yeah, and that's the point of this show and calling in, is it's not like, I don't have all the answers to this, so it's interesting to hear other people's opinions. So everybody's opinion is welcome. Yeah, like, just
as long as you say it's opinion and not fact, because facts do matter.
What's up, Genocide? Logical Spark. Good to see you guys. Yeah, I think it's one of those regions, and like I said before, I don't believe that we should be spending all kinds of money and doing all the stuff that we're doing and worrying about that. I mean, Sally, do you agree with me with that?
What, we should be sending money there? No, absolutely not. I don't think we should be sending money anywhere. I think right now we need to focus on the United States. We need to worry about what's going on here, securing our borders, getting immigration under control, rounding them out, deporting them, taking care of the problem where it should be. Anyone who's here illegally committing crimes need to go right away.
Yeah, and I think it would be nice if somebody actually did go in at the same time and fix the immigration system. I think that would be a good thing too. But neither party wants to do that because they want to use it as a way to fight. Like, well, we did this, or we did this, you did this, we did this. So they just use it as a campaign thing more than anything, which irritates the hell out of me.
The Ukraine conflict is nothing more but a proxy war. I mean, in the Ukraine, believe it or not, in translation, you know what it actually means?
What's that?
The borderland.
The what land? I think his Traveling Fools, his audio needs to be turned up. I have mine turned all the way up and I can't hear him.
It's literally known as the borderland.
Are you adjusting your mic there, Patriot?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I've turned you up a few times, and for some reason it keeps getting turned back down. So I got you maxed out. So don't adjust your mic. I got you. All right.
Test.
Yeah, you're good. Just speak a little louder.
But yeah, it's literally known as the borderland.
The borderland?
Yeah, borderland. That's literally what it translates to, is a borderland.
The problem with Ukraine and Russia is there's no borders. There's literally zero borders in Ukraine. So nobody even knows if you're what you think is on the border of Ukraine, you could be in Russia. There's no borders there.
Well, it's the same thing with what's the other country, Belarus. They think that's actually a separate country. Actually, Belarusians actually also identify partially as Russian.
Yeah. I don't know much about the other countries. I know specifically about Ukraine because I've spent hours talking to a lady from there, educating me on all this stuff about what's really going on there.
There's a lot of information and misinformation on both sides, but I've done my deep dive. But you mentioned about Nazis in Ukraine. Putin has even hired Nazis in the Russian side, known as Wagner, and those guys are just as bad.
Yeah.
No, I think over there, I think it's a whole, obviously you have wonderful people living everywhere and you got just your normal people, but there's a whole lot of psychopaths over there. And, hell, we've got...
The Wagner group got kicked out of Russia. They tried to do a coup against Putin.
He did, and the guy who founded it, believe it or not, got shot out of the sky in his plane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he just randomly, his plane blew up while he was flying across.
And
Yeah.
guess who blew that plane up? Oh yeah, it wasn't Russia. It was Ukraine.
Who knows?
Yeah, I'm not even sure. Did they ever actually find out who did it, or did anybody ever take credit
Yes.
for it?
It was Ukraine. Ukraine did it.
Did they? I'm not sure. Just to be honest, I don't know. I like to sitting there reading the chat. Let's see. Joe McGraw, he says, what did the U.S. do? Basically gave our manufacturing that we built onto China. Explain their reasoning for doing that. They are communists. I agree. I don't believe that we should be sending all our stuff over to China either. It's dumb kind of what we've done. And, hopefully we'll get back to things making more sense.
Oh, Jesus, not this again.
Not what again? It's the truth. The truth, facts are facts.
The situation in Ukraine is much more complicated than anyone realizes. Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't know that we'll ever actually really know what the hell's going on over there. But let me ask you this then, Patriot. Do you believe that American interests should be that involved over there? Where do you land on that?
At this point, I mean, we're already stuck in there whether they like it or not. But my biggest concern is if Russia's willing to shoot off an ICBM nuke, which is not nuclear, obviously, but still is devastating. That's the warning. I mean, my concern is if they're going to shoot Ukraine, I mean, what's next? They're going to shoot over the border of Poland? Because if that happens, all bets are off. Oh, yeah, Article 5, Poland invades and gets involved.
Right, and I agree with that if they start shooting into Poland. Now, do you agree that Ukraine should have been able to fire the missiles that they were allowed to fire into Russia?
Oh, boy.
I mean, isn't that kind of what started, Putin's retaliation there?
The reason why they shot missiles to begin with was because Russia shot missiles in literally a civilian populace into buildings with children, women, and families. So, I mean, I don't know, dude. I don't know.
I know, and like I said, I'm not on either side on this deal, so it's not like I'm not. Don't make don't think I'm arguing with you.
No. But just civilian casualties on either party are just getting.
I guess I have one question. Are you pro Ukraine and pro U.S. intervening in Ukraine?
I'm an American, but
you're an American. My question to you is: do you support what is going on in Ukraine, and do you support money from the United States going to Ukraine to purchase missiles and whatnot?
I don't support the war. I support the people that are suffering, but I do not.
That's not my question. I asked you a specific question and you're obfuscating. Do you support us sending them money from the United States with our taxpayer dollars?
No.
Okay, thank you. That's all I wanted to know.
Yeah, and I don't agree with that either. I think it seems like we got a bunch of people over there poking the bear on either side, and some reason or another we're paying for it.
Now, if you want to talk about another topic, I mean, Israel? That is technically necessary, though, in my eyes.
All right, so yeah, flip it to Israel. How do you feel about that one?
They're an ally, a serious good ally of ours, and I mean, the atrocities they did, especially, what was it, the month of October?
Oh, it was horrible. It was horrible.
You won't get any more evil than that.
Why were their defenses down? How were they able to penetrate this wall? Who allowed that to happen? That's the answer I want to know. Because that was allowed to happen. Was it someone else just took out that wall is like the most impenetrable wall. Why was that wall allowed to come down?
Are you talking about the Iron Dome?
No, the wall where these people came in to go and do those atrocities.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant the missile.
Like I think this is how I feel about Israel, Palestine. Care about allies. I don't think they're our greatest ally. Hands down, I don't think they are. When do they give us money? We have people in North Carolina that still don't have homes. No one is sending the United States any money. No one is sending troops or people to come rebuild that town. Not a single country is doing that. Not even our own government. So for me, when it comes to Palestine and Israel, I don't live there. I'm not Muslim. I'm not Jewish. I don't understand the cultural war. So for me, I just hate the death on both sides. Every single person that went and did those atrocities should be punished. Do you wipe out a whole entire country because there was bad actors? no one does collective punishment greater than the people from Israel. And that's where I have an issue with it. Do I think Palestine has bad actors? Yes. Do I think Israel does? Yes. And I hate the death and the killing on all sides. I hate the fact that so many people in Ukraine are dying. I hate the fact that people in our country in North Carolina are not going to have Christmas, and they are at risk of losing their children because they don't have a home, and therefore CPS can come in and take these children and move them to another state because they have nowhere to house them and to take these kids away. That's what I give a shit about. This other stuff I don't.
Yeah, I can understand a little more. Like, we've always given money to help out Israel, and Israel does do a lot in the background to help us as far as being our oversight in the region. They're a very key player to our national security, and I mean, frankly, our finances in a lot of ways with, the whole oil industry and everything that goes on over there. They are one of our tight allies, not like Ukraine being a tight ally. Israel has been since, World War II, since, post there. They've been right there with us through everything. So, I mean, I can understand a little more being in bed with them than Ukraine, if that makes sense. I mean, what do you think? What do you think on that, Warsaw?
I agree 100%. And listen, I'm not a supporter for warfare. I mean, war is the last resort if there's nothing else to resolve. And as far as what's going on in Israel, I mean, the thing is, the enemy of my enemy is actually my friend, which is literally like we have a common enemy. Like, if you think you can reason with Hamas, and I'm not talking about the Palestinian populace now that are civilians, I'm talking about Hamas. You got the Taliban, you got Al Qaeda, and you got fucking ISIS-K now making death threats. I'm hearing.
Who created those groups? Who created ISIS, Hamas, and ISIS? Who
You're
created
talking
those?
about the Mujahideen. We said
no, I'm talking about our CIA, along with Obama, created those groups.
The Mujahideen.
Yeah, whatever it was, they created those groups. Obama.
Even before Obama.
Yeah, he didn't help it, but
not when he was president. Before he was president, he was part of creating these things. Yes. So before Obama was president, yes. But this, yes, it goes back clear to 19. Gosh, when did they start destabilizing there? Because they had a good.
They've never stabilized.
No, they had a good. No, there was a good democracy down there. Iran had a democracy until.
Oh yeah, Iran.
You're talking about Iran. It. Yeah.
Yeah, they had Iran, all these places. They had a democracy. Then we get these faction groups like ISIS and all this crap going in there and destabilizing it. We, the CIA, with this corrupt group of people, not talking about the United States, but this little faction, went in there, destabilized it because why? They could grow heroin. And that was money in the black market.
Yeah. You're talking about the Shah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Shah.
Yeah, it's been, I mean, over there, the whole thing is like with the Palestine, region and all that. That's, there's so many crazy things that come out of all there. And so I do understand, like I said, I like Kentucky Blue Balls. He throws in Ollie North for president on here. He's always got something funny to say. But I do understand the thing with Israel. I do stand with Israel in a lot of ways. They are a close ally to us in that region. We can't let these people just take Israel and end it, because then we lose our ground over there. And they are the intelligence we get from there, and just the world, the way we keep everything in order, all does stem from that spot in Israel. So
yeah.
Ukraine, not so much. I don't see where it benefits us in Ukraine, which I know that might seem like a selfish thing to say or something like that, but this is a big world. And
the only benefit is, I mean, here's a theory. Is Putin really willing to reenact the former Soviet Union? I mean, I don't know what the think of it is, but it's modern day at this point. Nothing would surprise me if he's literally trying to escalate furthermore into the west side of Europe.
If Putin wanted Ukraine under this Joe Biden administration, Putin could have had Ukraine. He has the weapons and the things to do it. He doesn't want more of Ukraine. He was the Donbass people and the Donetsk people were tired of being persecuted by the new government of Ukraine. He stepped in. Every single place that Putin targeted, every single building was a bioweapons lab. Would you want bioweapons lab right next to your country where they're creating viruses like, weird viruses, which I'm not going to say on this live show because we're on YouTube. Would you want that? No. He could have demolished that whole entire country by now if he wanted to, because Joe Biden is weak.
Oh, obviously.
Yeah, well, that doesn't stand to. I don't believe Putin doesn't want to go in there and kill everybody, and just because a lot of those people are, whether we like it or not, they are Russians. A lot of them speak Russian, and it's such a weird thing over there because over the time, like you were saying, all the way back with the right. I mean, that goes so far back that. It's not like America. Well, I mean, it kind of is. It would be like us sitting there and it's like our Texas used to be Mexico or, blah, blah, blah. Mexico wouldn't want to go in there and kill all the Texans right now because it wouldn't make sense. They'd be killing their own people, a lot of them, or, blah, those things merge together right there. Yeah. So it's not, you don't want to necessarily look at these things and be like, killing the people who were once part of you or vice versa. So there's a lot more to that. Now, I don't believe Putin was doing some grave, like coming in as a savior either. I believe,
yep.
A lot of times 2 things can be right and 2 things can be wrong all at the same time.
I do know that Ukraine is the #1 sex trafficking capital of the world.
So is
just
what was the other country I was thinking?
The United States. The United States, yeah, the United States is as well. Or we probably top Ukraine.
I wasn't even thinking them.
Oh no, we are.
Romania
we absolutely are. We absolutely are. We absolutely are. 500,000 missing children right now.
But even Romania in Europe is also one of them.
Why was Ukraine so important to this administration? And it started before even the 2020 election. Why? They were laundering money through this region. We had those crypto companies that, were huge.
Mm-hmm.
And they sent the money over to Ukraine. This company just happens to go under and everyone loses their money. But before it could go under, they put all that money back into the United States for the Democratic Party during the 2020 election. And they've been laundering all this money there since 2020. This has all been about a means for them to launder money. I mean, we spent billions, almost trillions of dollars in this war. What's been shown for it? Nothing.
Yeah, and I mean that even goes back to looking at further back when I was talking about those other articles. Part of that was the corruption of Ukraine, just how corrupt the place was to start with, and now they're looked at as some like beacon of democracy in the free world. It's like, yeah, I don't believe so. There's been a big media push to make them look like some wonderful thing that we're all supposed to glorify now, which to me, anytime we get a media push from stuff, I automatically look at it and go, wait a minute, this is probably not the best thing. So, I mean, does anybody else trust everything the media says?
I won't even watch them. I honestly, I can't even tell you the last time I watched the mainstream media. And some of the supposed independent media, you have to be careful of them as well, because they knew that mainstream media knew that they were dying. So you got to make sure that you get your message out still. So they're going to have these big name people. Oh, I got fired, so I'm going to start my own little YouTube channel and my own, information thing, right? So you still have to vet. You have to go out. You can't trust these people. You have to go out and get your own information. You have to go out and you've got to go to that countries. You got to find people from that country that are there on the ground that will hopefully tell you the truth. So hopefully you get both versions of it, and you can then you have to use your discernment to decide whether it's true, because they're not telling us the truth.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I don't trust. That's another thing I hate is a lot of these people, they go and they're like, I don't watch mainstream media, blah blah blah, but I follow such and such. Whether it's on one side or the other. Sometimes you have people sitting there going, oh, it's they're arguing or debating with Occupy Democrat memes, basically, or vice versa. You see the people who are on the other end. They're just feeding off of some Twitter person that just because they have 500,000 subscribers, they're like, oh, this person must know what they're talking about, and it's just as bad on both sides. That's what I hate, is to see. I like the truth down the middle, and sometimes you have to look for it. Well, most of the time, all the time, you have to look for it now, because you don't know if you can believe what's on this side or what's on this side. So to follow anybody blindly, to me, is just ludicrous and asinine.
It's even that way with the big X creators. You have these people on X that have like 2 million plus followers, and they'll put out this story and they'll put source Fox News, or they'll put MSNBC. And I'm like, the whole reason we've come here, well, I guess that maybe they want to quote them, that's fine. But you have to look to see what their source is. And then, if it's one of their sources, it could be true. That means you have to dig deeper to get validation that it's true. You can't just take it and run with it.
Right.
Oh boy.
And this is a funny one here, though. Tammy says, I remember people in body bags and they were moving. So I do remember that too, when it was on the news and you had the whole stage thing, and it was like the one guy leans his head over and looks, it's like, oh, come on. Come on now.
I do have one question. When Trump's back in office, wasn't he proposing a truce between Ukraine and Russia, and there's like going to be a buffer zone in the area?
I'm not exactly sure what the proposal was there.
There was literally a buffer zone he was already proposing, and it's literally going to be enforced, so no other side could be firing at each other.
So I don't know why I can hear him just fine, and then I'm like struggling to hear what he's saying.
I know. I keep turning him up, but for some reason it keeps turning itself back down. I don't know what.
Did you turn off auto? Did you turn off
auto?
Yeah,
of course,
okay.
Of course.
Yeah, I thought so, but just asking. I'm assuming you did. I would forget sometimes.
Let's hear what this guy has to say. We always
nothing ever good. You know me.
What's up, shizzle nuts?
What's up, Sally? How you doing?
Doing well.
Well, if he's on his cell phone, it'll do it automatically. It'll just automatically switch it back over.
Okay.
So that he has no control over that. How you doing, brother?
Doing good, Shizzy. You've been listening to the topic here, or basically we didn't have a topic tonight. We were just kind of letting the show go where it goes. But we've been talking about Ukraine and whether we should be there or not, or blah blah. Like, have you been listening for a minute, or you?
No, not even at all. I just finished a stream.
So you haven't been listening to you haven't listened to the Ukraine debate and the Israel debate. Good.
No, I haven't at all. I'm just coming over to harass you guys for a couple of minutes before I take my happy ass to bed.
Okay. But I know what she was meant was what's going on. You know the debate.
Oh yeah, I know what's going on.
So explain your thoughts on it. Like, let's hear in the mind of Shizzy.
War makes good money. War pays a lot of politicians a lot of money, especially if you donate those stocks in at a certain buy point whenever they're really low, and then all of a sudden a war breaks out. You've got all the surplus is gone, and you got to rebuild those stockpiles, and you've got places like Boeing that are striking and getting ready to have some strikes on our ports here in January, if I'm not mistaken. We've got that coming up. So if you're looking at the big picture of this, war would make perfect sense.
But where do you fall personally on it? Like when you sit back and look at it, who's, if anybody, okay, what I said before was I really don't give a damn about either one of these countries. Like, no, I don't care about Ukraine. I don't care about Russia. I think they're both corrupt. Neither one is our ally, and our money going towards funding Ukraine or blah blah blah. Like, where do you feel about whose fault is all this? Kind of,
whose
the
fault
history
is
of
all
it.
this? The history of it, if you want to look back at the history of it, the fault of what we're where we're currently at right now is the fault of the EU, NATO, the United States. I mean, that's if you want to look at it, that's where the fault lies. I mean, they put themselves in this position intentionally.
In our country, blowing up Nord Stream 2 pipeline so that, that pipeline no longer exists. Yeah, it was us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, did they ever like? I mean, I know there's no way to.
They've never proven who it was. Proven it. They say, I mean, we all remember. We remember when this war broke out. The Ghost of Kiev. Was
the pilot.
We remember that. We remember that. They big sensationalized thing. Now they're firing rockets back and forth at each other, going deeper into Russia. But you're only getting what the news is going to tell you. You're only going to get the news that the AP is going to release to you. I mean, how many casualties have we had? We've seen entire squadrons of vehicles blown out on the side of the road as Russia rolled through Ukraine, right? 2 years, you would have thought that they would have Kyiv would be like a ghost town by now. They would have destroyed so much of it. I mean, think about this. Think of a big city, or even not one that's even that big. Just think of something like Atlanta, Georgia, and if the battalion from Texas was to come in and start attacking Birmingham, for example. How about Birmingham? That's a pretty good sized city, right? So Texas goes and it goes deep into Birmingham, and what do you think is going to happen? Do you think that people are going to be sticking around there and going about their day and living, and especially with all the mass destruction that went through there? It to me, you're only seeing what the news tells you, what they want you to see to get you to say, hey, let me donate some of that money there. I don't feel so bad about my tax dollars going to this. Look at this. My RTX stock is going up. It's doubled since this war started. I mean, we got out of a pandemic, and Texas would definitely win. I don't know. There's some crazy ass people in Birmingham if you've never been there.
I was just hoping you were going to say, go deep into the heart of Texas, so I could, do the little clap with deep in the heart of Texas, But you do make a really good point though. This has been going on for how long? And you see all the pictures, you see all the things that are out there. How long have they been doing this? And yet then you see these other things where the people are going to life is normal in a lot of these places there. How is that, even possible with all the devastation that you see and the rockets going off everywhere? A lot of it seems like we're just watching a goddamn TV show.
It seems like the international syndicate, it looks like that they in 1953 called this thing called Operation Mockingbird, where all four TV stations, news outlets are all owned by the same person, but they give you conflicting views just to cause chaos and to make you think. So you got some people that think this way, this person to think this way, and then you're arguing and bickering about it. And it's all planned to get us to think a certain way. And everything has been bought and paid for since about 1908. Yeah, that sounds about right.
That's why I think independent.
Well, yeah. I mean, can you imagine how many people go along? I mean, it went from we're pointing and laughing at people for wearing masks in their car, okay, which was absolutely absurd. And then, that went away. So that division kind of went away, and next thing they know, you have, people with Ukraine flags on their car. And then these people are driving down the road and going, oh, they've got a Ukraine flag on their car. F them. And this, they've caused this division over and over and over again amongst people that, 9 out of 10 people see more in common than they see differently. And,
right.
One of my biggest things is you can never get through to somebody or have a civil conversation or make ground with anybody or do anything like that if all you are looking at is what divides you. It's like with a relationship. If all you look at is the things that you don't like that somebody does, instead of looking at all the things that you do like that somebody does, a relationship will never work. And I think that's why so many things fail: friendships, relationships, everyday life, people's happiness. It's because of that mindset that they've driven home to people over and over again.
So we have demoralization, destabilization, chaos, normalization. They've done it with dividing us by race. The next way, so that we're fighting amongst each other that way.
Divide us by race, divide us by sex,
But then,
divide us by
yes,
by
the next one's going to
religious
be
beliefs.
the immigrants. Yeah, all of those, correct. And the next one, though,
Right.
is going to be the immigrants going into the Black neighborhoods and taking their jobs. They're getting $3,500 per person, and it's causing demoralization. It's going to cause destabilization. It's going to cause chaos. And then go ahead with chisel nuts. Sorry.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
What is
It just go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, just you brought up a good point there, Sally. Who's the guy that? Shoot, I just remember watching a documentary on him. Yuri Bezmenov. He even mentioned that.
Yes, it's Yuri. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
He even mentioned that.
It's how you destabilize a country. How do you destabilize a country? I could pull up there's like 13 points. You genderdize the military, right? So now they've let females be into the military. You infiltrate the schools. You take over the school system. You teach the kids what you want them to learn. I'd have to pull up the whole list, but there's a whole list of them. How you destroy a country? You control the media. You control what people hear, what they think. You take away their ability to think critically. Think of what they've done as far as critical thinking skills in our country. Kids don't, they just go, they just do. Everything is just what they see in front of them. And that's how you destroy a country.
Yep, and they're doing a good job. Patriot from Warsaw, I want to keep it moving, like flowing people through here. I've got a strict rule with this show. Like, I don't want to have more than 4 people on a panel, because otherwise it turns into a shit show. We all know how that goes.
100%.
Oh, yes, we do.
Yep, I've got somebody that's been waiting around in the back room for a minute, so I want to keep it.
Man.
But hey, man, any last words or anything like that? Because I do enjoy, and thank you so much for calling in, and I want you to call back in. But you got any last words or anything like that?
Rather than take the information from either side, I'd say be an independent thinker, take in the information that you want to always take in, question everything around you, and think about what's actually in front of you.
I like it. And I agree with you 100%. I love it.
100%.
Always
question. I just want to say thank you too. And when I'm questioning and debating you, I'm still taking in everything that you're saying. So I appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
All right, brother. I appreciate it, man. And thanks so much for joining us. Please make sure you join back in, because I love the insight, and you're an intelligent person, obviously. So we do enjoy it.
I'm a history buff, so yeah.
I like it, man. I've heard you around other places too, and I always enjoy listening to you. So
thanks, man.
All right. Thanks for coming on.
No problem.
All right. There we go. I have to, this next caller, some of you might know who he is. Some of you might not, but I have this beautiful little clip here that I came across. And I think I cannot bring him on without playing this. So sit tight and check this out. This is absolutely beautiful. And here we go.
And keep having as many Duggars as possible. So it's going to be a Duggar America, everybody.
Mr. Duggar. How you doing?
Hi, darling. What are you up there? Easy boy, you looking good, brother. How you doing that?
Thank you. I'm doing good.
Bubs?
How you doing, Mr. Duggar? How are you? How are you? What have you been up to?
Dude,
what are your thoughts on this?
I'm too blessed to be stressed. But I follow it, of course, I follow it because I'm one of them free thinkers, opinionated, handsome fat man that roam New Mexico. And from the get-go, it's all it's ever been is to control the outcome if Trump did get in. That's their last Hail Mary at Trump and at America. They don't like America. The people that doing this shit don't like America. They're all about themselves. It's just a money-making scheme, place to launder money. Oh, yeah, you got that $200 million rocket deal going. Well, here's your $3 million or your $5 million tucked away in a bank that nobody knows about. But the neo-Nazis were so prevalent in the Ukraine, in their armed forces, in their government, And to think for a second, if you think back a second, remember when they was in France and Canada, and they was all standing up clapping for an honest to goodness Nazi, like he was welcoming him in as like a hero. And so that kind of goes to show you which way the liberal edge leans anyway. And when they say deep state, a lot of people think that's some kind of mysterious critter that is just a conspiracy. There's no such thing as a deep state. Your ass. There's a deep state, and it's not just in the United States, it's worldwide. And you can tell the ones that are complicit with it by their actions. And the people in our administration, dude, I'm telling you, they're traitors. That's all I can say. Allegedly, they're traitors. But they're traitors, pure and simple. We have no business with boots on the ground or sending munitions to Ukraine. Okay? That could have been settled a long time ago. Putin's been calling for a peace deal for the last 3 years. And they keep hyping it up. And the United States, they got to go in and control something. They got to put their own government in. And this isn't the first time we've done it. We've done it many times.
70
So
since 1948. 70 times.
I mean, it's, I think it, and it's just, and how can you blame Putin? You got biological labs right after the fiasco of the Kung Flu. Got the same kind of building going on right there, in his back door. And you got military build up right at his back door. What's he supposed to do? He can't appear weak before his people, because he doesn't just represent Soviet Union to the world. He represents Soviet strength to the world. Remember, that's a big thing with the Russians, the strength part. And everybody keeps saying they're our enemy, they're our enemy, they're our enemy. Yeah, I wouldn't trust the guy either, as far as I could throw him. But you got to remember, who helped us beat the Nazis? Who helped us beat Japan? So, and when China come in North Korea, who helped? And so, I mean, you got to stop and think, why are these people driving such hate towards the Russian people? This more disinformation.
Because
are they our allies? No.
They need it. They've always needed a boogeyman, and communism was the boogeyman. If they allowed Russia to become part of NATO, who are they going to blame on being the communists, right? So every single country we've gone into has been all in the name of staving off communism until it was the war on terror. After 1991, after the Cold War ended, then it was, we've got to go into these countries because of terror. There's a threat of terror. When really all it's been about is going into these countries, infiltrating them, having camps set up so we can go in, steal their resources, impoverish their land. And when I say we, it's the international syndicate, which is the deep state of all of these countries, right? So the deep state of every country combined, right? They enrich themselves either on the stock market or other means. Not us, the American people, benefit from it. But that's what we've been doing since 1948 and long before then as well. But that is just the last time that I've gone back where it's on paper, and probably back to 1908, actually. But that's when they started having names. But yeah, it's all been about being able to go and have a reason to go to war because war is profitable. All wars are bankers' wars. Who do you think owns the Federal Reserve, right? Who do you think is profiting off of this? Not us as people, but a group of elite people that want money and control.
It all really comes from the stem when they left the Cuban Fidel. They left him high and dry out there, and that's why he went to communism, because we were supposedly helping him, and all of a sudden, we kind of pulled back, and because it was bad looking on the international scene, and he ended up winning.
Do you know
And
why
he
though?
goes, you know
Because
what?
he wasn't going along
Yeah.
with them anymore. Because he's like, they
Yeah,
got him
exactly.
elected, gave him all this money, and you got to do this, and this.
They
You've
didn't
got to
see
allow us
you're
to
wrong.
still sell drugs.
They'd already hung him out to dry. He got himself elected by coming in there and taking out the other government.
Yeah.
And you
might
know,
have
at
something
first
on
he
that.
was, you know, a chicken in everybody's pot, and
And
then
then he
we
tired
want-
of paying
we want-
child support to that guy in Canada or that lady in Canada, you know, and just had to go.
Trudeau, little Trudeau.
I love that conspiracy theory. That one's
he
super
does.
fun.
He does look just like Fidel. Just saying. It's highly probable.
One thing about
yeah.
conspiracy theories that I really like is I don't believe them all, but I might believe a handful out of all of them, but they're so fun. Like they're so fun to look at, read, see the people who believe in them, like the flat earth people. I love flat earth people. They are like some of the most interesting people because a lot of them are so passionate about it. And it's like, and they have these, and you could sit there. I almost challenge anybody. You could sit there on like a Friday night or Saturday night and maybe, you know, smoke too much of something and deep dive down a thing. And 4 hours later, you're like, the earth's flat. You know, you've been watching YouTube videos. You're like, then you had to like knock yourself in the head. You're like, no, turn it off. Turn it
Some
off.
of them are so convincing though, because some of these flat earther videos that they put together, I'm like, wait, is the earth flat? I can't watch any more of this stuff because I'm going to think that this is real. Like it's so convincing.
AI is crazy, dude.
Right?
The stuff they can build with AI is just absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I don't like AI.
I don't either.
Shizzy, as a musician, you have to hate. As a musician, Shizzy, you have to hate AI, don't you? Wait, you're muted, Shizzy.
Muted.
We can't hear you.
He's back.
Are you back with us?
No,
There we
it's
go.
awesome. It's
You
awesome.
like it?
I think it is glorious. You know why I think it's glorious? Because all of the garbage that you hear on your radio stations that's been pumping out for the past 10, 15, 20 years is no different. It's rehashed garbage that has been the top 40 bubblegum crap that everyone goes, ooh, wow, did you hear this new song by fill in the freaking blank? And you can pull up at least 50 other artists that are doing the same damn thing.
But to an extent, though, I mean, it depends on where you listen to your music at. I mean, there's a lot of these artists out there, like say somebody like Pokey LaFarge. I don't know if you've ever like listened to them, you know, doing something new. I love the whole thing. What was it? Shit, who was it? Jukebox, or come on, you know, what is it? Postmodern jukebox. You know, some of the things that they put together, redoing some of that. Pokey LaFarge. I mean, I don't know if you've ever listened to him, but there's so many people out there doing their own thing, and it's just you got to find it now because they're not pumping it out there because it's not what they want you to hear. So
Exactly.
I get a little disappointed coming from a family of musicians. Like a lot of this AI stuff, it's almost a smack in the face to people who are trying to do their own thing or trying to actually create their own music.
No, I think it glorifies them is what I think it does. Because if all you have is a ton of garbage, whenever you hear something that's really good, it's really good.
What if
And-
AI?
and it's
with
very
AI,
recognizable.
you could rip vocals, and then you could play vocals. No one doesn't see your face, but they could play vocals and play it as their own. I mean, that's someone else's content. They're using it with AI. And the
Oh
ability
yeah,
to rip.
you can do that, but you're never going to get the kind of recognition that the person that is actually doing it gets.
Holy
I mean, here's the thing.
moly.
You can sit there and you can say, look, people have, done AI of Trump. Does that change who Trump is? No. He still remains Trump.
Right. But you see where I'm coming from. It's like even with the
No, I do.
even with the people like that have taken time. I mean, the AI, it's really cool. Like I do see the benefits of it, and it does make some things a lot easier. But I mean, I see what you're saying to where it glorifies the people actually doing it for themselves. But it's even putting them into a smaller little thing because now you have people that any freaking moron can just get on here and go type in, and now they've got a song, in 2 seconds, where other people have sat there for, forever recording, editing. Oh no,
Exactly.
that's this, that's that. Oh shit, I
Exactly.
over edit.
And it's made what I do a hell of a lot easier, because I can pump out an AI song, use it for an intro, and not have to sit down for hours on end trying to record a song whenever I've got other things to do with my day. Does that make sense?
I get it. I get it. I
So
do get it. And I see where like Sean
it's
St. George, having fun with that. And I love the Ike's, AI songs, and Jimmy Bones. And I mean, some of these are hilarious and there is humor to it, but it's dirty. I just feel like it's dirty. I don't know.
well, of course, I make no qualms about it. Whenever I tell people, it's just like, yeah, I mean, I'll sit there and record a whole bunch of crap. It'll take me 20 minutes, and I can have something that's got a good intro, a good outro. It's got somewhat of the vocals that I'm looking for. It has the sound that I'm looking for, and I don't have to search for something. I don't have to pay any royalties on this crap either.
Right.
So yeah, sure. So if I set up a recording studio, for example, to record the stuff that I want, not only am I going to have to hire the musicians, because I can play a few instruments, but I can't play horns. I'd have.
I heard you were
somebody
really
else to
good.
do that.
I heard you were really good on the male organ.
Well, just only the skin flute. Just the skin flute. Just one.
Oh,
Just
man.
one.
That was looking through from turning Albuquerque. Come on, man.
The Diccolo,
There's one thing you can always tell fools when he says something like that. Fuck you, fools. And you'll feel much better.
No, I just go along with him and give him a hard time because he knows it doesn't bother me.
I love it, man. I love it. That's one of the things I do like. You can give it, but you can take it, but you can give it too. And people losing their minds over people having different points. You can tell the difference between a conservative and a liberal in a debate quickly.
Right.
You can?
Unless they're yes, I can. Unless they're highly stressed, or highly, not stressed is the wrong word. They've really got some brick to them that they can hold their tempers. They can. The first thing they're going to do is call you a name when they start losing it.
Fear, guilt, shame, insults.
Exactly. It's that's another way they tried to divide us with our political sides. But and I think they should get rid of the Democrat and Republican parties anyway.
The only people who they can't get rid of the Democrat and Republican Party. The only people who can get rid of the Democrat and Republican Party is us. We are the only people who can get rid of that. As long as we keep feeding into that, like I'm physically, fiscally conservative in a lot of ways, but I am in no way, shape, or form a Democrat or a Republican. There's tons of these Republicans that I can't stand it. And there's some of these Democrats, and there's some. I look at a lot of things. There's certain things that I can't vote for you if you support. So that does kind of, sway me way more to the Republican side on a lot of issues that, religiously or just the way that I feel about things or something like that, that I just can't look over these certain things that this person is supporting. Yeah, I can't look over it, but I can look at a lot of things they're saying and go, yeah, I agree with this person or I agree with this person. It's not based on party.
Do you guys want me to read you a text message that I got from a client? Do you guys want me to read it to you? It's not a novel, Traveling Fools. So it wouldn't take me more than a minute and a half to read it to you.
I got it. Let's hear it. I can't wait.
You got to hear this. Okay. We got to find it. Remind you when I read this to you, this is someone that I've known for 15 years. This is someone that's been a client of mine for 15 years. And she sent me this message. Okay. And this is after Trump won the election. And I told her over and over again, I don't want to talk politics with you because we're not on the same page. And I love you as a friend. And I don't want to have this tension between us. Okay. Anyway, so afterwards she says, my name. I want you to know that our connection goes. Wait, hold on. That's the wrong one.
She's like, wait a minute.
Well, I'm only going to read you the first one. I'm not going to read the whole
into
back
some
and forth.
sexual stuff here.
Ooh,
I'm just
baby.
reading I'm writing this text with a deep sense of sadness and regret. After much reflection, I've come to realize that our differences in beliefs have become insurmountable, and I think it's best for us to part ways. I want you to know how much I value the time we've spent together and the love we've shared. However, our fundamental differences have created tension and conflict, affecting our relationship's foundation. I respect your right to hold your beliefs, and I hope you'll extend the same respect to mine. Unfortunately, our diverging views have made it challenging for us to continue this relationship authentically. Please know that my decision isn't made lightly, and I'll always cherish the memories and love we share. I will always care for you, my dear friend. My response is shorter than that. And I just said, are you being serious right now? I think we have more in common than we have different. I don't throw friends away over politics. It saddens me. The world has divided people so much. I will always be here if you ever change your mind. There we go.
That's just a blessing that she came and told you that. Well, you might have felt a little closer to her and confided something into her that you wanted to keep between you two. She wouldn't have kept. It's like this. When you put stipulations on a friendship other than being a friendship, then somebody's trying to be in control. Yeah. And that just goes with the line. You know what? If I can't tease you because you're a strung out liberal and we're friends, if I can't tease you and ha 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 you, that
the best part is she tried to tell me. Yeah, the best part is she tried to tell me that morally I'm not a good person. Well, I believe in God. She does not. But morally, I am not a good person because I don't believe that we should be going into all these countries and rendering aid. I don't believe that we should be going to these wars. I believe that we should be taking care of the United States first and foremost, then taking care of other countries. And I don't believe that every single person that comes across this border should be in the United States. I think that they should come in the proper way, assimilate. That's why I'm immoral, because of those belief systems.
Well, see, and like we said before, I think before Shizzy and Doug or even either one of you got in there, we were talking about like the people coming in and all that. And Shizzy, I know you can probably relate, your wife being an immigrant, my wife being an immigrant, things like that. The hoops, was your wife, Shizzy, were you married before?
Not an immigrant, unless you said an immigrant from the state of South Carolina.
Oh, I thought your wife was from England.
Oh, that's a boring place.
For some reason I thought that. Anyway, no. I do believe that our immigration.
My wife is a liberal. Like,
okay, for some reason I thought she was British. For some reason, okay, my bad. Maybe there's another Susie out there, but I do believe that our immigration system does need to be corrected and fixed because I think it's a very flawed thing. And, both parties just use it as a bargaining tool or a, propaganda thing that they throw back. They're never going to fix it, but it's insane that like even my wife, she's been here 10 something years and is still not able to be, she can just now apply for citizenship. And at one point her green card was expired for 2 years. They sent a piece of paper saying, show this if you have any problem. A piece of paper because they were so backed up. And it's like, that was after she'd had a green card for 7 years. They sent a thing saying, here's a piece of paper. Just show this. If like you're supposed to carry a goddamn piece of paper around in your pocket all the time. It's stupid.
She should be granted citizenship just for putting up with your ass for that long.
I agree.
Telling you.
I know she's tried to give it back.
I bet. No, you
lost that paper. She lost that paper within 30 seconds of having it. I guarantee it.
Just like, what am I going to do with this thing? Is that going to stop anything? No, no. I mean, I had a guy that I worked with. He got deported back to Mexico. And he had a green card. He just didn't have it on him at the time. They had his ass shipped back to not Chapatula. I can't remember the name. It's one of the larger cities there in Mexico.
Chimichanga.
Yeah, whatever. It started with a T. I can't remember the name of the place.
Oh, taquito.
Yeah, I was talking. Yeah, I think it might have been something like that. But I was talking with his dad. And his dad was just like, "Yeah, dumbass was out and didn't have his damn card with him. They picked him up, and he had just got pulled over for a traffic ticket. They picked him up and sent his ass back to Mexico. It took about 6 months before he could come back. And the reason his dad brought him here is so he could stay out of the damn gangs. Just ridiculous. I mean, this is somebody that did all the right stuff to get here. I mean, he didn't cross the border illegally. He went and did all the right parts to be in the United States.
They only want the ones who come here illegally to stay here because they're the ones that are going to cause crimes and cause tension and disruption. They're the ones that are going to disrupt this country. The ones who come here do the right thing, and they're doing everything they're supposed to. Let them be here. Let them be here. Do it right. Do it right.
Do the channels, no problem. Welcome, brother. Welcome, sister. You need to add something to the country. Don't come in here and expect getting a check. No. Come here and start paying some taxes, or and work like everybody else has had to go work. I don't know.
I worked right
40 years before I
worked right alongside these guys on a regular basis, and they just as productive as any other American citizen. And for me to sit there and say, "Oh well, I don't like immigrants," it's just like, no. Immigrants are fine. It's illegal immigrants we have a problem with. As soon as you cross that border illegally, you committed a crime. Bye-bye.
The sad thing, though, is currently it's not just, and I've had this conversation with someone from DHS who was a whistleblower. It's not just illegal immigration. Our legal immigration system is broken. So say you're on the international organized crimes watch list and you come to the border. You go to the border and you speak to an office of refugee resettlement agency, and you say, "Hey, I am seeking asylum." You're on the international organized crime watch list. You say, "I'm seeking asylum." You are then taken off that watch list. You're allowed to come into this country legally until you have a court date. So that person is here legally. So that is broken as well. And people just focus on the people who climbed the fence and never talked to anybody.
Right.
No common sense.
Here immediately committed crimes, such as the one guy that just, yeah.
And it's a sad thing because, like, I'm a compassionate person. I understand, like if you wanting to create a better place, a better thing for your family, a better way to provide, I understand that. And I understand why people would want to take those chances. That's why, I love Trump's thing that he was wanting to do before with a merit-based immigration system. I did like that. Right. And yes, compassion comes in. I mean, we do have people, they always say, refugees, you have to take in the refugees. And they beat that down everybody's throat during Trump's last term. But financial refugee is not a status. A refugee is somebody who is escaping religious persecution, death, they're political. And it can't be global warming. Remember when they tried to throw global warming into it? They were like, oh, the reason all these people are flooding up here is because of global warming. And they're trying to blow that. Oh, wait, we can tax you more for this so you can pay for global warming. And then maybe less people will be coming. Like, it's all and people who believe this are the dumbest people in the fucking world, in my opinion. It's like, just that makes no sense.
Yeah. Well, and it's amazing that people are saying, "Oh, with global warming, the seas are rising." And tell me why all of the people that are all about global warming live in places like the Martha's Vineyard and Florida, Miami.
Yeah, you
Why,
can
why,
look at
why are they living
Hawaii?
on the Great Lakes?
Hawaii?
you look at
Hawaii.
the one guy who threw it out, and I remember Shizzy. I'm sure you've seen it before, and most of you, probably everybody has. But that one guy who was up there talking, he says, "All you got to do is look at the insurance companies. These people are getting mortgages on these properties. If the insurance company, if they're getting a mortgage on these properties, that means they have homeowners insurance. The insurance company would not be giving insurance on this home if it's going to be underwater in 5 years or 10 years or 15
Or
years
20.
or 30 or
50 years, whatever. They're not going to do it.
no, you're not getting the mortgage. The mortgage company is not lending the money. The insurance company is not covering it. I grew up in South Florida, and we had a place on the Keys. I was there the other day. The same dock, where you pull in right there in Tavernier Key, right behind Tavernier Key Marina. You can pull in there. It's right there. We lived right there. We had a place on the private airport. Pretty cool place, actually. Still there. Same house, hadn't been blown away. The dock is still the old concrete thing that you pull into, right there is still exactly where it is in the same place it's been since and I'm 48 years old. And I mean, it's still just as it was when I was a young child. So maybe the water just doesn't rise there. The flat earth got tilted.
Yeah, it's because it's where it's at on the equator. It's too close to the equator for the water to rise there.
Well, there's too many people. The flat earth, there's too many people on this side, so it's starting to bend a little bit,
Oh, yeah,
because there's more.
Mom.
Remember when that senator? Wait a second. Remember when that congresswoman or man or whatever that?
No,
senator,
it's a senator. It's a senator from Georgia, and he is still an ambassador to like NATO or the UN.
What was it? Guam? If too many people got there and tip over.
No, it was Hawaii. He was saying that Hawaii runs the risk because it's an island of flipping over.
I thought it was Guam, but okay.
Well, it could be Guam. It's just
Guam.
Yeah, I thought it was Guam, but yeah, it was like,
God,
"You'll
what is
tip
that
over."
guy's name?
Was it Warnock?
No, it's not Warnock.
No,
It's,
Ossoff?
I can see his face.
nope.
He's one of the old guys.
It's black guy, white hair, and talked really slow.
From Texas.
I can't remember.
From Texas?
No, he's from Georgia.
We
Okay,
should know this.
he's a senator from Georgia. Hold on, I'll get his name in 3 seconds.
And
We
he's
should
like
know.
an ambassador somewhere.
Oh,
Now,
Lord.
He's not a senator. He's an ambassador.
I just want
Both.
well, he is an ambassador now.
It's not
but
John
he's-
Ossoff.
Nope.
Yeah,
Nope.
it's,
Go back 10
Warnock?
years.
Warnock.
Go back 10 years.
He was a senator. Now he's an
Okay,
ambassador.
10
So
years
you,
ago. Okay, hold on. 10,
Yeah,
10
go
years
back.
ago.
Yeah, been 10 years.
I can't think of his name either, Susie, and we should know this.
Julie
But
would
anyway,
know.
people
He's
are
not-
insane. Kangaroo Black, Kentucky Blue Balls Channel says.
rising waters
It was
didn't
not
stop the
Walter
bone.
George. There's a Walter George.
Henry
Yeah.
Johnson.
It's something like that. He's got a name like. Is that it? It might be Henry Johnson.
That's what Crispy Treat says.
Senator
So.
that said Guam would turn upside down.
Oh, Hank
Johnson.
Hank Johnson. Yeah, there we go.
Hank
Crispy
Johnson.
covered it.
There
Hank
you go.
Johnson.
Hank Johnson.
Yeah, Hank Johnson.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
she
look-
said Henry, which Hank.
Now
Henry.
look at what Hank Johnson is doing now. Look at what Hank Johnson is doing now.
Yeah, he's an ambassador. That's insane.
Yeah.
For what? For which country?
No, just look what he's doing now.
Probably he's the ambassador to Atlantis.
Yeah, Hank Johnson. He's still he's represented the 4th district. He still represents.
Oh,
So
so
he's
he's-
instead of a senator, he's a representative.
Yeah, he's a state representative, not a federal. Yeah, okay, I get it. I get like a localized. Yeah, Georgia.
This is what he said. Okay, this is what he said because this is funny. He feared
You
that
should pull up the
stationing
video. It's even
8,000
funnier.
Marines on Guam would cause the island to become so overly populated that it would tip over and capsize due to
Yes.
environmental changes.
That guy's an idiot. And yet he's part of running government.
Yeah, well, we've got AOC in there. We've got, there's a lot of dumb people.
She done went conservative, ain't you heard?
No, she has not.
Yes, she has too. She's taking a hard right to be on the Trump
I'll
train.
believe it when I see it.
No, that ain't happening.
No, it ain't
Telling
true.
you.
I've heard rumors of it too.
When y'all
That
go,
ain't happening.
Mr. Duggar, that insight into AOC is astounding. I will
Don't
say,
blame her.
listen to the old man. I hear, I see, I pay attention, I read things, I see things. But hide and watch. Hide and watch. She's going away from that wokeness.
No, but I hope she does, but I don't think that'll ever happen. I just can't see it.
No, not unless she's going to go full rhino. She's a nut.
Hey, look at that. There's your
Yeah,
friend
she did.
Destiny in here. What's up,
Hey,
Destiny?
Destiny.
Good to see you.
Destiny. I love Destiny.
But I do have to jump off here. I gotta get
Oh.
up in a few
Destiny,
hours
if you
and
want to join, I
do a
can
stream.
send you a link.
There you go.
I'll send her a link anyway. She can join or not join. It's up to her.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we'll be on here for another, 20, 30 minutes if anybody wants to jump on. The link is pinned. I've got it pinned. Sally's got it over there on her side on Rumble, I guess. And, it's on X as well. Anybody's welcome to click the link and jump on. Shizzy, any last words for us before you jump off?
No, I mean, I can't think of any last words, which is strange for me because I can never shut up.
Have you got your show? Have you got your show in the morning? I listened to every
Yeah.
bit of that this morning. I've been getting
Yeah.
up really early lately, so I've been listening to your show.
Yeah, it's so 6:30 Eastern time. Usually goes until about 9 o'clock Eastern time. I try to get done a little bit early, but tomorrow it seems like it's gonna be cold, and I'll probably just run late because I don't feel like going out in the cold and doing all the shit that I have to do.
I got to be down in your neck of the woods about 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, so I'll be listening to you all the way on the way. So drop your link in the chat. I know you're a mod here. You are more than welcome to do that before you get out. Make sure you do that. Y'all should definitely sub up Shizzy. Great channel over there, good friend of mine, and I
Hey,
always love
Shizzle
tuning
Nuts.
in.
Shizzle Nuts.
Yes,
I liked everything that you had to say tonight. And it might be because I, gave me confirmation bias that everything I was saying that you agreed with. So, tonight I really appreciate you agreeing with everything that I said. Just kidding.
I don't know if I agree with everything everybody says.
No,
I'm
you
just-
did. You confirmed a lot of the stuff I was thinking, that's either good. It's not good or bad. I was trying to make funny of it, but take it seriously, okay? Gosh.
I can't take anything seriously, not even myself. I mean, have you met me? Come on.
Life's too short.
It is.
What time are you doing your show in the mornings these days? One of these days, like
6:30.
AM?
Yeah,
On the East Coast, West Coast?
East Coast.
So that's 3:30 my time. So if I stayed up till 3:30, then I could go on a show with you. Because as long as I don't go to sleep first, I could stay awake and be up that.
Well,
time.
and then I usually do a stream at night. Like tomorrow, I'll probably be on with the expert. He does the Friday Night Live every Friday, which is always just fun. So I'll probably do that, and then I try to take the weekend off, but sometimes I get a hair up my ass and feel like doing something that's off wall. Like I might do I don't know, I might just get in an 18-wheeler on a video game and drive it around and bore myself to death. So you never know. But I'll reach out to you, have you on sometime.
You invited me before, but it's just so early. But if I stayed awake,
Yeah.
I could do it. If I stayed awake, I could do it. And these days I do stay awake
No
till
pressure.
that late.
No pressure, because then you'll be just exhausted by the time I'm done.
Oh no, my sleep schedule's all jacked up. I sleep from like 7 a.m. till 2 in the afternoon. It's like my new schedule.
No, I mean I'm exhausting. I would exhaust the ever living shit out of you.
Oh,
But he's a hell
says
of
well,
a
that
he's a
tells
hell of
me.
a skin flute player. Though. So we do love our musicians around here. It's
and then
like-
one day at
well-
band camp, it was all fun and games.
I
It was
tried
all
to
fun
teach him to
games,
play
too.
that. I tried to teach him to play the Jew's harp, but it's just I can't get him past it. So
Yeah,
It was
it
all
just-
fun
it
and
just-
games until he tried to teach me that skin flute, and then it just went all down here from
Nope.
there.
No,
Mhm.
I had to knock out my teeth just to get the damn thing in. All right.
Love you, Shizzy. Thanks so much for joining us, brother.
Peace out.
All right, see you later. I'm gonna bring two people. Well, Shit. Yeah, I'm gonna bring. I know it's the rules,
Yeah,
but
too.
I know one. I know one. Okay, Doug. Duggar, you got any last words? I gotta bring. I gotta bring one other person on. Duggar, give us some last words.
Yeah, God is great. Thank God Trump got elected. I think everybody needs to be alert. You know that those were just military age men that's out of the border. Watch out for stuff. You know, if y'all are in areas where there's stuff to be messed with, kind of pay attention to what's going around you. And God bless. Y'all take a good one. Sally, good to see you.
It's good to see you. I'll have to join your trivia night one of these nights because I miss them.
Bye, darling. Bye.
All right. See you, Duggar. Love you, brother. Love you, Bubs.
George, glad to meet you. Bye.
All right. See you, Duggars. What's up, Sean? How you doing?
Oh, doing all right. Trying to enjoy the evening.
All right. Well, what say you, man? Thanks for joining in. What say you about the topics and all that? Or you don't even have to talk about that topic, but what you want to talk about for a moment. I like that chair, by the way.
Points of view on. Yeah, it's not exactly a DXR or Secret Labs, but it works.
I like it. So what do you think about all this nonsense we've been talking about and all that jazz?
Which nonsense?
Well, any of it. What would you you know?
Well, I guess going back to the AI music, it's kind of fun to mess around with, but I do see where artists are going to have points of contentment, and legitimately so, because it's going to eventually get so good. Why is anybody even going to music class anymore?
Do you think it'll ever get better than
AI?
Do you think it'll ever get better than, I mean, do you think AI will ever be able to do better than Mozart? Like, do you think that it'll ever have that like genius gift?
Maybe not, because all AI is like AI just studies patterns of what is either occurring or what people are desiring, and then it develops profiles based on that, and then you give the AI input and it goes, okay, I got this based off of what I've been given input on and what I have in the database as far as records. How am I going to make the best song or whatever with the criteria I've been given? I think for a long time, it's going to be, we can tell it's AI, because just like with AI pictures, there's always an extra finger
Right.
on somebody's hand. There's going to be subtle differences that you can see. I know AI visually is really good right now, depending on if you got the money to use it. Because remember, it was maybe 6-8 years ago, that Obama deepfake came out and nobody could tell the difference.
Right.
And the voice was perfect, picture was perfect, and it also had things like facial inflexations that you could see. But that's probably an AI that has a server farm for its rendering capability. And if you're going to use those services, they're probably going to charge you tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars per project.
Right.
So what's coming to us now, the quote unquote free stuff, it's just the bare bones version of it. The real professional stuff is far
But there'll never
more
be
frightening.
soul. There'll never be actually like a soul. Like, you can't convince me in my lifetime that AI will ever recreate, like, let's say Mozart's magic flute, like the area, you know, yeah, you know, with the woman singing and the whole, like, you will never be able to, in my mind, make something as beautiful as that music to come out of AI. I just don't believe that can be recreated.
Traveling Fools, do you see my things I want you to share, the screen?
What are we looking at? Where am I looking?
Just go down and add to screens. You'll have to scroll down.
Okay. I see it right there. Are you ready?
Uh-huh.
All right, let's do it.
And so the caption above that, how to tell if something is AI, right?
What
So
the
look
fuck?
at this. No, so look. So they have how to tell it's AI. You have this person back there. You have that spot on her shirt, but they don't circle the feet hands.
Oh my God, she's got feet hands. Sweet Jesus.
Obviously, it was a joke, but it was pretty funny.
I like it. I like it.
She's
Dear
alien.
God.
All right. Wait. I have
But
to
the
ask.
rest of
I
it
have
is
to ask the
pretty
question
good.
real quick though. Nate, would you?
No. No.
Even Nate draws the line on this AI chick.
You know, that's a
Even
whole
if
new
she
that's a
has, like,
whole new
regular
fetish.
hands, I would, but
Yeah, talk about a foot fetish right there. That's you.
yeah, basically.
Oh my gosh! Like, have you seen Megan Fox's hands? Now I'm gonna have to look.
Oh,
Now I have to
God.
look it up.
Oh my God.
Uh,
Sean Wriggles.
have you seen Oprah Winfrey's feet?
Oh no, and I don't ever want to see
I
Oprah
don't
Winfrey.
Oh,
want
I'm
to.
gonna show it to you.
No.
Oh, I gotta do it. I'm gonna have to do it because once you do, you'll be grateful that you did.
Mm.
Oh wow.
I don't think I will, but okay, we'll give it a shot.
I'm finding it. Hold on. Oprah.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's my problem though with AI is I don't think it'll ever actually be. You'll never have actual soul to any of it. I mean, it's all generic. It's all boom, boom, boom. It
Right.
sounds
It's
like
trained by
everything else.
humans, though. It's trained by
Yeah, but
human patterns. though.
but it doesn't have soul though. A computer will never learn to have the feeling of love, the feeling of despair, the feeling of any of that. Actually, it can pretend to know, but it's never the loss, the feeling
Yeah,
of
it's
anything. It's never going to really know that.
it's going to be a
Mhm.
pretender and a ones that can contend with actual artists, but when you look at popular music today, how much of it do you think is already AI generated?
That's true.
Oh, well, music today sucks anyway. I mean, I don't think it's
Yeah,
or
I'll
maybe
say
I
that.
would say AI assisted.
Yeah, true.
right.
So what you guys are saying is you would never have sex with a robot.
I
No.
would.
Nate's like I would.
I don't
Nate, I
know.
love you.
That's the what is it? That's the plot of how many B-rate horror films?
Oh.
Like I remember Weird Science. That was great back. God, that chick was pretty hot in Weird Science. I remember watching that. Yeah, what was that? Late '80s, early '90s, right there. Weird Science. That was great. Patriot.
Well.
Hell no.
I mean, if it's like, I'm not gonna go full details, but if it's like realistic, female robot, yes, I would. But yeah, now if it's like, your typical robot today, hell no, I might crushed.
So if it was Rosie off of the Jeffersons, you would say no. Or not the Jetsons, the Jeffersons. If it was Rosie off of the Jetsons, you'd say no.
I haven't seen that show before, but is she like a what's she like? Is she like just a regular robot that doesn't really have anything, or I don't know.
I don't know. She's got sandwiches. She does have sandwiches. Rosie on the
Oh.
Jetsons does have sandwiches.
I guess no.
Oh,
because
you said
I don't know.
Jetsons. I thought I
Yeah, the
heard
Je-
Jeffersons.
I did. I said Jeffersons at first, and I went, no, what the hell? That's the Jeffersons.
Okay.
The Jetsons. Rosie
All
off
right.
the Jetsons, So he was like, if it's a regular robot, that's all I could think of.
Hey, Saint, or well, what's your name?
St. George.
Saint George. Yeah, Saint George. Edie from Mass Effect, the game.
Idi
Oh, yeah.
Amin? Would you
Yeah.
have sex with Idi Amin?
I
Who?
don't know who that is.
Edie, just Edie. It's a character from Mass Effect.
Yeah, it's like the AI computer for the starship you're
Yeah,
on.
I would have sex with her.
But-
So
Is that the show from Megan?
Well-
The computer Megan show? That was AI?
No.
no.
No, Mass Effect
she
is a
is a
video
female
game
robot, so-
franchise that hasn't had any other media
Sense.
adaptation, thankfully, because Hollywood can't do video game adaptations to save their life.
Yes, exactly.
Which sucks because the lore is there. All you got to do is recreate it with live action. It shouldn't be that hard, but creative license, sure, and all that.
I mean, yeah, TF, the ED is spelled like EDI, like AI.
Yes.
But
she does get a humanoid body by the end of the series.
That's what I mean.
And she gets a romantic relationship with the pilot.
Well, I know. I'm saying if
Sally, are you wanting me? Just let me know when you want me to share that again. I was just waiting. I didn't want to share until you were ready for me to share. So
well, I looked at it and now I'm curious if it was real because one of them shows that she has 6 toes. So I'm thinking that someone was saying trolling her. So
okay.
I mean, I've heard they're horrible.
About Oprah?
Yes.
Oprah? She's giving away toes. Oprah. She's got extras. She's like, you can have a toe. You can have a toe.
Oh, no.
There's no way she has 6 toes on 1 foot.
Oprah has 10?
Well, it's not like it's not a documented anomaly.
I mean, I've seen The Princess Bride. There was a 6-fingered man.
Well, I've seen a couple different pictures of her feet, and some have 5 toes and some have 6. So I think someone was jacking with AI, but I've heard they're horrible anyway. But
did you know Anne Boleyn had 6 fingers?
Oh, really?
Who?
I think Patrick kind of brings up a good point about how men are already checking out on real women, and they're going to, let's just say, different lengths of fantasy I did not think men would start pursuing.
And see, I think that's a sad thing. I understand men getting frustrated with women these days and getting frustrated with a lot of what was put in the past, especially 10 years. And I can understand men being frustrated with that, but I don't think it's an excuse for men to go. And we've had that conversation on here before. I don't want to go back down that road because to me it's kind of I just not my favorite topic.
Redundant.
But I think
how men the red pill community, yeah.
What?
I don't get into the like everybody's free to believe what they want, but the whole kind of MGTOW thing, like I believe the best way for men to stand up for themselves is to be a fucking man. And if women can't get on board with that, then you're looking at the wrong women is the problem, I think. And men should not digress in who we are for that. I just don't like that. I see caveman in the thing, but I think maybe going back to caveman thing might be a little never mind. I'll stop there.
Alpha male? You mean like be a man?
Yeah. Well, that's the only way I was ever taught to be, was to be very polite, very chivalrous, very nice to women, very respectful, but at the same time to be a man's man, and that's kind of how I was raised.
That just sounds like common courtesy.
Yeah. True.
Well, yeah, it's talking about just being a man.
Regardless of what gender you're applying it to, just have courtesy. I mean, what is it? Jordan Peterson always said, not always, but he has said, to be a good man, you have to be a monster, but you have to be very capable of keeping that in check.
Yeah,
true.
I can see that.
All men can be monsters. All men could be evil, but it's being a gentleman is where you can keep it at bay. You have that self-control.
Mm-hmm. And women should be the same way, though. I mean, all women can be monsters as well, but it's that give and take that people need to, realize. There's a reason why we have, and I say evolved, I'm, into the species and the 8 billion people we have on Earth. You know what that is? It's human attraction, and it's the things like that have made that happen. It all goes back to separating everything and pulling everything apart, just like I'm not supposed to be your friend because you're liberal. I'm not speaking to anybody on this panel, but just
Yeah.
in general, blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm not supposed to, bow down, this woman, I shouldn't be doing this. I'm a independent woman. I don't need a man. Well, okay, now that's not how procreation works. And that's not how
They're also kind
civilization
of
goes.
finding out years later,
that's
having
called
that lifestyle, they end up regretting that being a career woman. It's not 100%. And you know what? People have specific interests, especially with how they're going to conduct their lives. If somebody, male or female, just wants to be a career person, that's their decision.
Yeah,
Go
imagine
for it.
thinking that, Sally. Imagine if you
I
thought that
don't
way,
think
and
that's
then
their
all of a sudden.
decision. They should stay home. Sorry.
But
Go ahead.
listen, Sally, imagine if you thought that way, and tomorrow you woke up out of the nightmare and you were living in England, eating the worst food ever, married to Ellen DeGeneres. Like,
There's this
You know
thing
what?
called survival
Actually,
of
there
the
was
fittest,
finally
and I
one.
would run and jump off
Yeah.
the nearest building.
At least there's finally one celeb who finally left.
I know. At least we got rid of Ellen DeGeneres.
So did Ava Longoria too, though. She left. She's in Mexico.
That's what you call those women or girls.
And Richard Gere.
feminists. So
Sorry, Nate.
Right.
I can't hear Nate very good, so I keep cutting him off. So
I
There
tried
you go.
turning him up too, but he keeps turning it back down. I don't get it.
I'm on the app, so I couldn't go to the Safari.
are you multitasking on the app?
Oh, it's mobile.
No.
Yeah, you don't have a lot of control on mobile version.
Yeah,
Right.
that's why. Yeah.
It's hard to do, but either way, we've hit that 2-hour mark. I do believe it's 1-something a.m. I have to be up at 6 a.m. I got to be up in 5 hours,
Oof.
which is
Yes, you
which
do.
is painfully bad. But I do think we had a great time tonight. It turned out to be, Sally, what do you think? I think it turned out to be a fun show. A lot of different people got to say a lot of different things that were cool. Let me pull this down real quick so everybody can see.
Yeah.
Oh, dear God.
Let's go to that. All right. Let's go on ahead. I'm going to start. Yeah, I'm going to start wrapping
You have
this
to
up.
add Destiny's last post up there because it's pretty funny.
Oh yeah, I'm not like totally I was just going to go on ahead and let Nate give his goodbyes. Any last words there from you, Nate the Great?
Well, I mean, we're talking about the female robots and stuff, but yeah, if I'm still alive about that, I might even marry one. So, love y'all, big booty bitches.
All right, Nate. Love you, man. Thanks a lot. I do like Destiny. She says, if any men are tired of women, I suggest my robot doll or Rosie Palms, Pamela Henderson. I do like it. That's going to be the next thing. She's going to have the barbed wire tattoo on her arm and everything. That would be great.
And kind of to that point, though, we was talking about robots. I guess girls already do robots. It's called a Sibian or something like that. I've read about it somewhere.
Yeah, y'all have been into those robots.
Yeah. Well, there have been toys and things like that forever.
Well, I'm just saying that women would probably adapt better to robots. I personally am not into it, but I'm sure there's some people who would be.
And there's also there are physiological and psychological ramifications of overuse.
100%.
All right. Well, Sean, man, we appreciate you coming on. You got any last words for us?
Well, I hear you guys in the lower 48 are going through a winter cyclone, so get some layers on.
Yeah, it's cold here. I had to step away a minute ago. It was funny because I've got this, I'm in a bar in here, which I separate from, that side of my house. And I've got the bar over here, but it's got one of those propane, heaters that, a nice wall heater. But when we started the show, it was cold in here. So I turned it up a little more than halfway. And we got about there a few minutes ago. I was sweating. I was I had to put the back on. I'm like, I'll be right back. I had to open the door. I had sweat pouring off my head. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to pass out.
Oh no, I understand that. I live up
Yeah.
here in Alaska, so sometimes we get kind of frozen out when we have power outages and we get our heaters out. And if we forget about them, well, it feels nice going into an 80, 90 degree room. You don't want to stay there
Right.
long.
100%.
But then you just got to open up the window and even out the temperature.
I won't tell
Right.
you about the night last week where maybe I will tell you about it. I was up really late. I got really, really cold. So in here in this office, I have a heater over here and I was freezing. So I turned it up to like way too high, like 85 or 90. So I'd gotten done taking a bath to warm up and I came up here. Mind you, my son moved out. So there's no kids home. Apparently I fell asleep with no clothes on the eyelash bed massage table behind me. It was kind of funny. Like, what?
Well, see,
Oh yeah,
I had
I
the
did
thing.
notice the massage parlor paper wall there. That's what we
Yeah.
call it.
Yeah, that was a
There's a couple
$10
of-
thing we found at the DI, and we almost threw it away. I'm like, wait, that could go for my backdrop in my studio. So it just separates the bed
Mhm.
from the, because I still have
There
my
was
office.
there was one time in my life when it turned into a blizzard here because like where we're living at now, it's not South Florida. We're actually somewhere in the mountains where it does get cold in the winters. It's cold outside right now.
Mhm.
And there was a blizzard here one time and we were out of power for almost 2 weeks. And it was so cold. I mean, there was like nothing and people weren't prepared for that. So when I built this house, this was like my, fortress. I said, okay, I am never going to be cold. So I did central heat and air. I've got a, huge gas fireplace in the living room. In here, I've got a, the wall mount propane thing up, that none of them need electricity. Upstairs, I've got another one upstairs in like the office area that opens up into 3 different bedrooms. So that one, and heat rises anyway. It can be 0 degrees outside and we can have no power and I can have this house 100 degrees if I want it to be. I said, I will it's kind of like, do you remember in Gone with the Wind? I will never go hungry again. I'm like, I will never be cold again. That was my point when I did that. So
You got backup power supply?
I've got a small generator enough and like 6 or 7 of those like large power banks that I just keep charging all the time. They're solar powered and if you keep them charged, yeah, I can do fine with our fridge. We'll be putting food outside out of the freezer, but it'll, if I need it, but it's a rare occasion.
That's one of the beauties of living in temperate to Arctic environments is in the wintertime. Your power goes out, you just move everything that's in the fridge and the freezers outside.
Right.
You put it in a cooler outside and make sure nobody comes up and steals it. But of course, this is Alaska too. We have more.
What are you worried about? A bear? That's the only thing that comes to steal your food in Alaska.
Moose
Okay.
is that big one, but that's because people like to mess with the moose, and you don't mess with what is it? Basic Geographics called them. Oh no, it was Taco. The angry forest tanks.
Okay. Mesuses. I don't like mesuses either. They're big.
Mesuses.
Probably good to eat.
No, moose is singular and plural.
I know. I'm just making a joke. All right. Last words, brother. I'm going to wrap this up. Last words before we move on and wrap the show up.
I guess I need to find time to come and join you earlier in a stream.
Yeah, man. Come on. We try to do this every Thursday night. Obviously, every now and then something, jumps into our plans and wrecks it. But the plan is to do this every Thursday night and, bring a platform for people to peacefully talk or talk about a cool subject or whatever. No judgment, no anything. Just have a good time. So come back and visit us.
Yeah, I enjoy it. For the
all right, Sean St. George.
I'm on here, so take it easy.
All right, man. It's been a blast. Thank you so much for joining in with us. We really do appreciate you. Big shout out to Kentucky Blue Balls right there coming in with a $5 super chat. He says, when the moon hits your eye like it's 5:45, that's November. Love you, Kentucky Blue Balls, man. Yeah, you're a great guy. Check his channel out too. He's absolutely hilarious. His comments always make me laugh.
That's funny.
So Sally, what say you? What you got going on?
Well, let's see. Tomorrow is Friday. Tomorrow night, I will be in X Spaces from 4:00 on the Mike, Mac, and Destiny show. It's called Say Something. And X Spaces for a couple hours at 6 p.m. my time. So that's 8 p.m. Eastern. I will then migrate over to the pub on X Spaces with Drex. I am filling in as co-host while Bill Elmer is out of town. So I'll be doing that tomorrow night, as far as I know. And then I've got some other stuff that I've got in the works. So I'll keep that close to my sleeve because people tend to like want to take those things and run with it. I do want to thank everyone who's been here on Rumble and everyone who's been participating on X Live. It's been a great conversation. I enjoy having conversations back and forth. It's a good way to enrich yourself and enlighten yourself. And you had a great group of people that came on, Traveling Fools. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. And I like the way that, like, to do this, our goal was at the beginning, if anybody else doesn't know, was to bring a platform that was just normal people that could come on here, come together and not be judgmental, not argue, not because there's no arguing here. There's none of that, but people can have open opinions. A lot of these shows, we've gone into these not knowing what each other's opinions were or anybody else's were on topics, and just having an open conversation about something, which makes it more fun. So it's not an echo chamber or anything like that. So I like the fact that other people come on, give their thoughts, bring their things, say who they are, throw your own stuff out there. Say, hey, I've got this channel. Subscribe to me here. Here's my thought. You know what I mean? Use this for whatever you want. Just come here with good, honest intentions and have a good time. That's the point of the show. So I just put your thing up there right there. So make sure everybody goes over there. Sally on X is at Talk with Sally. Sally's is really easy to figure out. You can go to YouTube. It's at Talk with Sally. You can go to Rumble. It's at Talk with Sally. So pretty easy to figure out there. Make sure everybody subs those up. I'll throw my own thing out there as well. The only other thing I have planned is every Sunday night, we've got the best trivia on all of the internet, live chat trivia, all of the internet on YouTube right here. We stream it out on X as well. But if you want to play along, you got to come over to Traveling Fools YouTube. You can go to at Traveling Fools 2020 on YouTube is a direct way to find it. But every Sunday night at around 10 o'clock, 10:30, right in there somewhere, we go live. It's live chat trivia. It's absolutely awesome. You can win prizes. You can have a good time. Sally, you've been there before. It's fun, isn't it?
Oh, I have a blast on it. Like I was saying earlier, that I need to come do a trivia night again because I haven't done one for a while and I miss them. They're fun.
Well, yeah, you need to come back over. I know you usually got something going on at the same time, but look at that, Julian coming in there with all the links. Julian's a great mod. Love you, Julian.
He's amazing.
Awesome. Julian's awesome. Well, that being said, you got any last words, Sally? You ready to get the hell out of here?
No, I think it was a good show. I think that the about 2.5 hours is a good time limit to run a good show.
I think so as well. I love it. Well, that being said, God bless everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We love all y'all, and thanks for everybody who tuned in, took their time to be with us. We couldn't do it without you. Well, we could, but we might as well just be talking to ourselves. So without you, we would not be doing it. So love all y'all. Thanks a lot. You have a great night.